When I had an opportunity to taste the whale meat, it was at a friend's house who was cooking it for his children, and he marinated in teriyaki sauce and onions, and there was 5 chunks of gray whale meat. So that made me think of the 5 villages. 5 villages, 1 heartbeat, because of the whale, bringing us all together. And I ate those 5. And it tastes just like a beef steak that was cooked like medium rare. It is delicious, absolutely delicious.
The Makah are a Native American nation at the northwestern tip of the lower 48 states of the United States. Makahs whaled and fished along the coast of Washington State and Vancouver Island, British Columbia, for several thousand years.
We have a right, a legal right to harvest whales. It comes from our treaty that we have, the Treaty of 1855. It's the only treaty that the United States has with any indigenous people that gives them a right to whale. 300,000 acres of land we gave up in signing that treaty, because what we wanted to have was the ocean. We wanted to have the water. That was going to be our land.
In the 1920s, the Makah stopped whaling because commercial whaling had decimated the gray whale population. In 1969, the gray whale was protected by the Endangered Species Act in the United States. In 1986, the International Whaling Commission banned commercial whaling worldwide, except for limited indigenous subsistence hunts.
The arguments for Aboriginal whaling being advanced today are being put forward as a mask for the restart of commercial whale hunting worldwide by another name.
In 1994, when the gray whale was removed from the endangered species list, the Makah declared their intention to resume whaling.
The Makah say they've been approached by numerous environmental groups and private donors offering big money to save the whales.
They offered, big dollars to help us out, or try to help the community, but when it got down to that, well, we said no, our treaty was not for sale and that we wouldn't sell out.
On May 17, 1999, the Makah took their first gray whale in over 70 years. Anti-whaling activists were distraught.
When that whale was killed on May 17th, I have not seen grief in people like I'd seen it for 3 days around here.
One thing that you come away from when you talk to any of the Makahs, the sense of commitment they have and the seriousness with which they're doing this. This is not a lark for them. I mean, it's as serious as celebrating Passover is for a Jew.
It's a sacred religious event that the whalers go through. They take the life that's given to them, and then they take care of the spirit of that whale through prayers and the rituals that the families have. A parallel as when a person is in church doing all the prayers and doing all the ritual things in church, and then at the end the Father provides for communion. Although it be a wafer, ours is the whale.
That's the power of spiritual prayer. They're the one that we brought back. Just seemed to kind of swim right to the coon. That's how it happened. It just kind of come together just like that, and it was all over.
Whaling is a formative part of Makah cultural life and social organization. Whaling families have high status within the community. Stories of whaling are passed down through the generations.
One time, the tribe had a real bad famine. And when they did, there was no fish, no shellfish, nothing to eat. And it was bad. The youngest boy of the family, he went out and he prayed. You're the great God in heaven. You can see that my tribe is having a very hard time. This Thunderbird herd who lived in the mountains, he went and got his 2 sea serpents that threw the lightning. They got onto his back and he went out and he came over this way and they saw a whale coming. The 2 sea serpents, when they flashed on him, it killed the whale. And so he went down there and grabbed it and brought it back here. He circled 3 times and then finally dropped it on the beach here. And then Oh, this boy was so happy. He ran in and he says, "Get your knives and get them ready so that we could go get some food." He says, the Thunderbird brought us a whale.
Anti-whaling activists believe that no one has the right to whale. They took to the water, risking their lives and those of the Makah to stop the hunt. The National Coast Guard was called upon to enforce a 500-yard exclusionary zone around the Makah to protect the Makah's legal right to whale.
We used smoke grenades last year to prevent them from tracking the whales. We used fire extinguishers to keep their attention on us rather than on the whales by just spraying at them.
The one day it almost got out of hand. But it took some of the older people getting their drums together and start singing, to calm the people down again. But it almost turned out violent.
The first hunt on May 10th was caused by the Sea Defense Alliance. The crew was on a training mission, training only, and they were there and threw these road flares across into a gasoline-powered boat. They were there. And in order for us to protect them with the exclusionary zone, we had to activate the permit.
The most famous incident, and one that a lot of people have called violent, I would beg to differ because I was the one who did it, was the ignition of a flare. I didn't know about the safety cap, I didn't remove it, and when I struck it, it shouldn't have lit. It did light, and burning plastic hit my hand. I threw the flare, and it went over the bow of the gunboat.
Sea Shepherd, as well as Sea Defense Alliance, protested. Greenpeace, however, did not participate.
The reason that a lot of people have confused the protesters out in Neah Bay with Greenpeace is because many of the methods that they've used, such as going out in speedboats and actively confronting the whalers, are methods that Greenpeace has used confronting commercial whaling for over 25 years. While the kind of subsistence whaling practiced by the Makah definitely is a very graphic practice, it is our opinion that this kind of whaling does not pose a real threat to gray whale populations.
There's no biological reason why 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 whales can't be taken out of a population of 26,000 without any harm coming to the overall population.
I probably respect the Makah position on this issue more than most other protesters would. But where I differ from them is I believe that animals have culture as well. These whales have been on this earth, since the time of the dinosaurs, far before man ever walked on this planet. And they've been carrying out this migration since that time. And the idea to me that we have some sort of inherent right to go in and exploit it simply because there's a historical basis for that just doesn't seem appropriate to me.
Emotions surrounding the Makah Nation's whale hunt ran high. Racist attitudes towards Native Americans entered into the conflict surrounding the hunt.
We are aware that there have been obvious racist incidents around the hunt, that there have been local people who have been resentful of the tribes in this part of the world in general for some time, and they have used this as a pretext to come out and, bash Indians in general. We don't believe in that.
Don't take the whale is another form of wanting to control a race and a people.
The modern technology used in this hunt obviously makes it a non-traditional hunt. It was all about making it convenient. It was all about making the whale as close to fast food as possible.
We wanted to hunt the whale traditionally, in the whaling canoe with a harpoon and a killing lance. People say that we're not doing it traditionally because we've got a power boat for safety, a chase boat that would affect a humane kill of the whale with a .50 caliber rifle. Well, we're charged with that by the IWC's humane killing work group.
The Makah continue to fight legal battles for the right to whale. The future of their hunt is uncertain, but the cultural issues and conflicts it raises resonate throughout the world.
We have lawmakers that condemn the gray whale hunt by the Makah, but yet they pass legislation allowing for clear cutting and deforestation in our state that has a direct impact on salmon habitat.
As a global culture, we're destroying oceans in large parts of our environment that are killing thousands or millions of animals a year, not just for food, but just because we're taking away their habitat. And it just seems displaced. It's like it's easier to get upset about stopping the macaw than it is for us to stop, say, dumping oil down the drain.
I don't think we should be taking gray whales and hunting them personally, but I also don't believe that we should be impacting these waters the way we are, and it's hypocrisy.
And we even have bumper stickers in Friday Harbor that say, "Save the whales, vote Republican."
We have come full circle now in our culture. We have our fishermen, we have our clam diggers, we have our carvers, we have the language people, hunters of the elk and the bear, and now the whaling families. Their part of the circle is there intact.
There comes a time in a person's life when you must stand up and be counted. Macaw stood up, had to be counted on hunting of the whale. It now follows to the future generations, and they may have a more difficult time than we did to maintain that treaty so that the rich traditions and the heritage of Makah will continue.
I'd like people outside to know it's changing lives, and you're making us better Indians, better people, giving us a reason to get up in the morning, give us a reason to keep in shape and to keep our bodies healthy for a greater purpose. Our generation to have something to pass on. It's actually something that we have done instead of just passing on memories.